Well, it's been a pretty exciting off-season for the A-League men's competition so far. Unfortunately, it's a really long off-season. So even though there's been a lot of excitement, still a couple of months before our first round of the season in October, but there's still plenty to talk about, and we're in the middle of July. We're going to be having a quick chat about some of the big signings that have been announced for the A-League men's competition so far. We'll probably focus on the big major signings. There's probably about 3 or 4 we'll probably want to touch on, and then we'll have a quick skim through each of the individual 12 clubs. I'm Brad. I'm joined by Sog. Samuel, how are you? How you been?
Yeah, not too bad. Studying, so busy, but you got to do something in A-League off season, right?
Go to an MPL game. Stuff studying.
Yeah, the season can't start quick enough, and it's been a long one, particularly if you're a Sydney FC fan, waiting for the club to make a signing, which finally we did something. So that was nice.
We'll touch on that signing soon, but I think obviously we'll start with the biggest signing of the off-season so far. Nani, Melbourne Victory, the former, I think, a big fan favourite at Man United. Won about 4 huge Premier League titles, a Champions League title as well. He was at Vicenza last year, had a bit of a stint at Orlando City as well the year before that. Massive signing. He seems like he's still quite fit, even though he's getting on in age a bit. He's still playing a lot of football. I think it's a really exciting signing, and it's probably one of our biggest since that season when we saw Alessandro Del Piero and Heskey and Ono all come to our shores. I think it's massive.
Yeah, it is quite big. Yeah, like you said, he's pretty huge at Manchester United, and that's really where he made his name. He was at Sporting Lisbon before that, so he was kind of Ronaldo 2.0. He went over to America kind of while he was still playing good football, and he did well for Orlando, who is definitely a marquee kind of signing for them, designated player, as they like to call them. 77 appearances, almost 30 goals. So, he didn't set the league alight, but I think he's a big name, but he is 35 now. So he's on the older end. I don't think we're going to, well, he signed on for 2 seasons. I don't know if we'll get the best Lewis Nani we've ever seen. I don't know if there's going to be heaps of backflips happening. I'd love to see a 36-year-old do a backflip, but yeah, look, as far as names go, he's not your Del Piero or your Dwight York, who are still playing top football when they came, but he's got pedigree. Absolutely, no one can say he's not a class player, and at his peak was one of the most exciting footballers to watch in world football. So that's pretty cool to have someone like that at Melbourne Victory. Yeah, how exciting.
Speaking of Premier League players, there's another one joining the A-League. Charlie Austin signed for Brisbane Roar, 33-year-old. He scored probably not as many goals in the Premier League as Nani, but he still scored quite a fair few for the likes of Southampton and QPR and West Brom. So I think it's a really exciting signing, particularly for Brisbane, who hasn't had much of a striker for some time now. So he seems really excited to come. He's pretty vocal on Twitter. He's asking stuff like, do they have schooners in Australia? And I'm responding to him saying yes, except for in South Australia where their pints and our pints are like imperial pints. You weirdo South Australian. He was at the State of Origin last night. Like, he's getting all amongst the Australian culture. I think he's really keen to embrace his stay down under. And I'm pretty excited to see how it will go as well at Brisbane. I reckon, someone like him, if he can get 12 goals or more, I think it's probably what he's targeting for himself.
Yeah, and look, he's a striker. He might be surprised playing in summer just how hard it is to move around, and maybe he might be just a in the box kind of striker. But again, he's a fantastic player. He's got quality, and he said he's not just here for a holiday. So I think he's aware that he's actually coming over to play football, and I think we've had it in the past. A lot of the kind of players come over expecting Australia just to be easy, just to be a walk in the park, and that their technical ability will just help them smash people. And what they've found out is you actually have to be physically ready to go. You've got to be a good footballer to actually destroy the A-League. And so I think it's a fantastic signing for Brisbane, who really lacked a goal scorer last season. Bascardo was an absolute flop for them. Did absolutely nothing, and I'm pretty sure all Brisbane fans are pretty happy to see him leave the club recently. And so, look, it could be a great option. I can't say I've watched much of Charlie Austin in my days of watching football, but he's a big name. He's coming from who was he with last season? Queen's Park Rangers.
No, oh yeah, he was with QPR. Yeah.
So coming from Championship football and scored 5 goals last season. So it's not amazing. He's 33, but again, it's a promising signing for another A-League club.
Yep. And I think obviously probably our last major signing of the offseason so far. I don't know if there's been any winners in this transfer, to be perfectly honest. Milos Ninkovic, the Sydney FC legend, whether he's a legend anymore, that's up for debate, has crossed the divide and joined the other Sydney team in the Western City Wanderers. Personally, I don't think anyone wins here. Samuel, I'm very interested to hear your perspective of this, because I actually haven't spoken to you since the announcement was made that he was going to Western Sydney Wanderers. How do you feel about your club legend going to be playing in red and black next season?
Yeah, look, I have tried not to think about it all that much. I don't know what to do with my Sydney FC shirt with Ninkovic on the back. Like, it's just sitting in the cupboard at the moment, and I'm like, do I just fold it up and shove it down the back? Do I get the numbers removed? And it sucks. Like, I still can't fathom how he thought making that choice would be a good one. Sydney FC want to offer him a coaching role, just like Western Sydney have. The whole thing comes down to the visa, and so he's got himself an extra season of money. And it's like, is it really worth that much to throw away? Because he thinks fans will understand, but no, I don't think. I think he's been a bit naive, thinking that fans will just allow someone to go to their crosstown rivals and be okay with it. So, yeah, look, he's definitely tarnished everything he's done at the club. Absolutely, it's thank you for what you have done, but don't expect to walk back in with, any sort of goodwill. Like, you've just thrown that all away. So, yeah, I think it sucks for a Sydney FC fan. But yeah, like you said, I don't think the Wanderers have actually won. Potentially they've won something in his coaching role going forward in the club.
And the meme value of the whole situation as well. It's almost sucked in, but also I didn't actually want him.
Well, that's it. Like, it absolutely throws spice. It's an advertising point. Really actually get on for the derby. Wanderers are making some decent moves in the transfer period. Like, he's not going to be starting. And if he's a starting player, I mean, Mark Rudan's just really changing his team lineup. So, yeah, look, I don't think the Wanderers particularly have won. All they've gotten out of it is a chance to rub it in Sydney FC fans' faces. And it's like, well, that's nice, but we've got 4 trophies since you last even had a sniff at a trophy. Like, one of our players, it's not really as good as you think it is. So, yeah.
I mean, so the big issue was it coming down, he didn't want to become an Australian citizen. Well, Sydney FC wanted to take him off the visa. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. They wanted him to get citizenship so they could have another visa slot available. He wasn't happy with that because he said he couldn't control how long that would take. The only problem with that is, because the season starts in 3 months, he's like, I can't get citizenship in 3 months. That's like, the absolute best scenario. And if I don't get it for 6 months and you won't let me play until a certain time, then I'm not going to throw away my last season. The only problem is that he'd been telling people that he was going to get citizenship 2 years ago when he was eligible for it. And so it's not that he's only had 3 months. He's had 2.5 years to get citizenship. And so it just feels a little fake on that side. Like if he really wanted citizenship, he would have gotten it, and he hasn't. And so that's up to him, absolutely. But I don't think you can really blame Sydney when you've got a 38-year-old who you want to be able to refresh the squad, bring in players like we're going to talk about later. You can't do that while holding on to a 38-year-old foreigner. And so now that's Wanderers' problem. They've not been the best at using their foreign slots in the past, and I guess that kind of continues, and that tells you a little bit about the hierarchy at the Wanderers.
I think better because he clearly wanted to stay in the city of Sydney. I think his better option for his own reputation should have just went to MacArthur or lived in Sydney, went up to the Central Coast or something like that.
Newcastle Jets would have loved him, and it's 2 hours from Sydney.
Anyway, from the Wanderers' perspective, I don't think this is a good signing. Like, I think basically of everything we've spoken about is the visa. A 38-year-old taking up a visa spot. If he doesn't want to get an Australian citizenship, that's completely fine. I don't think it should be forced. But if he's been saying he wants to get it, I don't know how long it takes to get a citizenship. Neither of us would know. 2 years, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, it's definitely harmed his reputation. A 38-year-old who I wouldn't say has had a terrible run with injuries, but, just getting on in that age, I don't think he's going to be fit and healthy every week. It's pretty crap. From all reports, I hear he's at the bottom end of probably about 100,000. I don't know what our salary cap is. But anyway, he's at the Wanderers, and it'll be very spicy when that first derby of the season comes around. Go on, sorry.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess if he's managed to get himself a pay rise by going to the Wanderers, he's done well for himself there. But what
was the rumor he was on at Sydney?
I have no idea, but he wasn't on. He was still on marquee wages last season, so
Well, it sounds like a pay decrease because he's not a marquee anymore.
Yeah, crazy. But
anyway,
that is what it is, and so it'll be interesting to see what happens the season, particularly the derbies, and how much of an impact he really makes for the Wanderers.
I think quickly we'll skim through all the 12 clubs in alphabetical order. I've got Adelaide United up in front of me. They've picked up Harry van der Sar, I think former Sydney FC player, and Ben Warren, another Sydney FC player. So two
of the worst parts of our defence last season have left the club and gone to Adelaide, who didn't have the best defence, and that'll be interesting.
Yep. Looking at Brisbane Roar, we've already mentioned Charlie Austin, but the other day they also picked up Riku Danzaki on loan. Yeah, on loan for 6 months. So that'll be really good. No doubt they'll be trying to extend another 6 months on that. He played season 2021. He's on loan from Japanese team Sapporo. So this is his second stint in the club. And from all reports, the Brisbane fans seem pretty excited to have him back. Central Coast Mariners, they've picked up former Wanderers player Thomas Aquilani, MacArthur's Michael Rooz, and a couple of Portuguese fellas. Not Portuguese fellas, players from that were playing in Portugal. Samuel Silveira, who is Australian, and Paul Ayagong. Don't know that guy. The Ghana player.
Yes. So Sammy Silveira was at Jets second half of last season, back on loan, which caused a bit of a stir for Central Coast fans because he's originally from Central Coast. And the Ghanaian kind of winger, I think he is. Nobody really knows too much about him, but looks to have a bit of speed, a bit of skill. So that could be a good signing for the Mariners.
Looking at the MacArthur, they've got Lewis Miller here. Please get out. It's like taking credit for the group assignment and not even turning up. Technically, he did sign for MacArthur, but
no, he's back on loan.
Oh, he's back on loan.
Has he not been loaned back from the club?
No, he's going to Hibs.
Oh no, he did go to Hibs.
Yeah, he's going to Hibs. Yeah, there's a few guys who picked up from their NPL feeder team: Jed Drew, Eddie Caspers, some unattached players: Jerry Skadatis, Jonathan Aspro, Kieran Backus. Oh, good Lord, Kieran Backus. Oh, well.
Well, Bacchus has been playing for Orlando Pirates for the last couple of seasons.
Nah, the Kaiser Chiefs,
Kaiser Chiefs, sorry.
where the band gets their name from.
The other South African football club that everyone knows.
Yeah, but the team that wins all the time, no one knows, the Sundowns.
That's right.
Anyway, there's also Anthony Carter, Matthew Miller. That's not bad. Played in the A-League before. And Ivan, Croatian last name guy. He was at Western United a few seasons ago. Can't pronounce it wrong if you don't pronounce them.
Is it Vujica?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Melbourne City's been pretty quiet. Got one of your former players, Callan Talbolt, and Richard van der Veen.
Yeah, Richard van der Veen coming from, is it Alkmaar or from
RKC?
RKC Walwick. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
so look, he's been playing in the Eredivisie. So he must have some quality. He's got a bit of a left boot, I think. And so sounds like a good signing. Callum Talbot's a great pickup for them. And that one hurts for Sydney FC. He wanted more game time. Was it towards the end of his contract? Signed with City halfway through last season. Then Joel King left, and then he started playing week in, week out, but he'd already signed the pre-contract with Melbourne City. And so that's a bit of
I don't think he'll be getting that much game time at City.
I don't think so. So, yeah, interesting one, that one.
Looking at Melbourne Victory, obviously, Nanny, we mentioned Paul Izzo, who, as we are recording, is in action against Man United, and he's had a pretty decent first
signing. Great signing.
Yeah. Tommy Urich, the former Champions League winner with the Western Sydney Wanderers, I think he'd be not a bad backup. I don't think he can expect to be starting too much.
He didn't do much for MacArthur last season, did he?
No. There's a Hamid Taleb from Melbourne City, Ellie Adams from Brisbane Roar Youth, George Timothy, Noah Smith, and Matthew Bozanovsky.
Yeah,
from
some interesting
Hume City, so an MPL player. Pretty nice. Newcastle Jets, they've been pretty active. They've picked up Brandon O'Neill, Reno Piscopo, Trent Bahaja, Joshua Soterio, Rory Jordan, Mark Natter, and James McGarry. Not some bad signings there.
Yeah, lots of interesting attacking players there. Joshua Soterio, Trent Bahaja, Brendan O'Neill in the midfield is pretty good. And who is that other one?
Rory Jordan. No, he's from Northridge Bulls. Reno Piscopo.
Reno Piscopo. That's a fantastic signing. So that's a big one.
It was really exciting at the Wellington Phoenix.
That's the replacement for Pena.
Yeah. Having a look at Perth Glory, they've got Stephen Kolakowski, Matt Hatch, Keegan Jelisic, Mustafa Amini, Ryan Williams, an English fella called Mark Beavers, who comes from Peterborough United, and Ben Azubal from Israeli club. He's been at quite a lot of clubs, and they all look Israeli by the looks of it. But he can score some goals by the looks of it.
That one's only just recently been announced, so it's an interesting one.
Yeah, hopefully better things for Perth Glory, at least for their fan base. Wellington Phoenix, former Wanderers player, Stephen Ugarkovic, Costa Barbarousis, bit of a homecoming for him, and Lucas Margaris.
Yeah, from Newcastle Jets.
Yeah. My boys, Western Sydney Wanderers. Obviously, we've talked about Miloš Ninkovic, but Lawrence Thomas coming back from Denmark. I think it's a really good signing. There's someone from Sydney FC Youth, Zach Sapsford. Do you know anything about him?
He's quite good.
Oh, that's good to hear. A French guy, Romain Amelfortano. I don't know much about him, to be honest. A lot of these players we're bringing, some of the foreigners we're bringing over, I'm not too familiar with, but that's all right. 182 games for a Mustard, so that's not too bad. 182 games for Dijon in France, so that's not too bad. Kasugi Yengi, I'm pretty excited to see him at the Wanderers. He went pretty well at Adelaide in recent years. Callum Neunhoff from Sydney FC.
Yeah. Yep. So we've seen Wanderers, pretty much the whole league's strategy is just sign Sydney FC players after our worst season in years.
If it works, Another Sydney FC youth player, Adam Simmons. You know much about him? No, that's all right. Nathaniel Blair from IP Leichhardt. Olivia Bozanic, I think that's not a bad pickup. Gabriel Cleur from some Italian team. A guy from the Congo, Democratic Republic of Congo, that is, Yeni Nungamba. I'm not going to even try.
Ngabato or something like that.
Sure, let's go with that one. He played for Panathinaikos, Nantes, QPR, a lot of games at Mets as well. So a fair bit of experience there. 2 games for the Democratic Republic of Congo, played juniors with the French national team. A fella called Tom Beadling from Barrow over in England, who I think are a League 2 team. Don't know too much about him. I don't know anything about him, let's be honest. And that's it from the Wanderers. So a lot of signings there, and not some bad ones at the moment. Our reigning champions, Western United, absolutely nothing official at the moment.
That's interesting.
So maybe they're pretty happy with the squad they've got.
Did win the league. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's all the teams, unless I've missed anyone. South Melbourne. Wait, that's right. Sorry, South Melbourne's not in the league.
I think one of the big things there's lots of signings for most clubs, but maybe people are feeling like there's not been really too many big ones. Like we've mentioned Charlie Austin and Nani. They're the 2 kind of big name signings so far. Cesc Fabregas was kind of being flirted with a little bit, but it looks like he's off to Italy. Yes, and who could blame him if he can still play quality football? Sydney FC, there's been lots of talk about them chasing a big number 9 and a replacement number 10, and some news coming out about that they were chasing Dries Merton, and also
we did forget Sydney FC to go through their signings.
There's
the Spanish guy
to talk about.
Yeah.
Look, there's not been much on that front, but I think a lot of people have been worried. Like no one's signing anyone. There's still like a month and a half until the season starts, so I think there will still be some signings made by lots of the clubs, and
there's almost 2.5 months, really.
Yeah, it's way too early to start panicking. So I think there's still plenty of time for some more big names to join the A-League and for clubs to do some real business. We're going to start seeing FFA Cup teams in the next couple of weeks, and so that'll be really interesting to see where clubs are at. That's really where clubs start their preseason. Clubs are only just getting back into training now, so it's a long preseason, plenty of time for big names to come. So I look forward to seeing some more signings come to the A-League and some big names.
I think we'll leave it at there, but thanks for sticking with us if you stick with us so far. But if you have, maybe subscribe and leave us a like. We do appreciate it. And let us know in the comments what signing you'd like to see at your club, or which big international signing would you love to see in the A-League. But until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye.